Hey, Jean, how's it going today?
Hey, Emily, how are you?
Good.
Good.
So today we are going to discuss something I actually never saw coming myself, but video podcasts going mainstream and what that means for production. And, we'll talk about what's happening in the industry and how we could, as local providers, leverage that trend and, differentiate ourselves. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
do you
So the
want to?
big headline that kind of spurred this discussion today is that Netflix is going to get into video podcasting, popular podcasts that are on Sirius XM. And so, when you've normally been like driving around and just listening, when you're in the home and not driving, because it would be very unsafe to watch something on your phone while you're driving. But when you're in a safe place to watch,
Yeah.
you can go on to Netflix and watch the podcast that you've been listening to in the car, or, again, have that on in the background and you end up looking up at something and then just
Yep.
listening, So I think what their Netflix's play is that, they want to be the biggest.
Yep.
But YouTube is the biggest.
Yep.
And a lot of the video podcasts that are out there are exclusively on YouTube.
Yep.
The video portion, the audio portion is on many other outlets, but the video portion has only been on YouTube. And so where like Netflix, content is king, right? And so they have a lot of content that YouTube doesn't have. They also need to do some of the same things that YouTube is doing. And so they want to get some of those video podcasts on their platform.
Exactly. And, you have to meet people where they are. And some people love podcasts. And if you're in that platform, maybe you come across something that Netflix has original content on that's going to drive you to watch that as well. So creating more value, but you've got to get them there. I love podcasts myself. I do listen to a lot of them, especially if I'm walking or doing something around the house. But Brene Brown, absolutely one of my favorites. But some of what I love about her is being able to see her also with her TED Talks and all of that kind of stuff. Because to me, to see people's body language and just to see how they interact with each other, there's something about being able to connect to that versus just simply listening to it. So
Yep, for sure. I'm much more of a visual person, and I'm not a huge podcast person, but like I think I've talked about before on No Commercial Breaks, my favorite show ever is Sopranos. And so they did a Talking Sopranos podcast, and it was Chrissy and Bobby Bacala, and then they had all these other guests on, and I almost exclusively watched it on YouTube because I wanted to see them, and see these guests from my favorite show rather than just listening to it. So I think there is a definite demand for video podcasts. And like, why are we talking about this on this today? Because I think it's a trend that is not going to go away. And we could boil it down on the local level, because again, we always keep talking about local things that we have going on and how do we as video providers share that with our customers. Why can't we do a video podcast and have that on our local channels and have the GM of the telephone company hosting it, or the marketing person, or whoever you want, sit down with the mayor of your community, sit down with the principal of the high school, the chamber person, like a new business that came into town, and have little 15, 20 half-hour podcasts that have video along with it to highlight your community. I mean, that is something that, of course, you could always put on YouTube, which I think you should, but then you can also have it on your local channels. And what a great branding mechanism for us.
Again, for sure. Meeting people where they are. Because, the younger generation would find it probably on YouTube, but the older generation would love to see it on the community channel. And the opportunities are so endless. I think to myself, I love meeting people and just having general conversations and a coffee and collab session, right? But you could make that into a podcast.
For sure you could.
You can go into the community pride you can build. Like our school district is really focused on that. And you could get kids to have their own talk show or whatever. And just what you could do to even showcase your community and bring maybe even increase tourism, because you're showing people things that they may not otherwise know. Because the other part about the community channel is that doesn't have to be locked down. you can send that anywhere. And if it's on YouTube and you get views, so definitely an interesting thing. I didn't necessarily see Netflix wanting to play in that, but it totally makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, think about too, like back in the day, you know, when you had content for your community channel, if you were going to be the one to produce it, you know, you had to have lighting and audio, and you had to have a camera person, and you had to dedicate a lot of resources to producing that local content. Well, times have changed so quickly. I mean, do you have one of these? And, you know, do you have, you know, some lights? And really, it doesn't take a lot to produce your own content like it used to. And it can be done very easily these days. And it's just, you know, I think the biggest resource that you're committing to it is time, and, you know, putting the time into it. But if it's something that's going to cause that, again, that brand loyalty, that customer loyalty, and community pride, I think it's an investment well spent to use that time.
For sure. Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing if there's any feedback, if people think this is a good, bad idea. And if they think it's a good idea, some of the ideas they might have and how they're going to follow this trend and see what they can do.
Well, I wonder if there's already people out there doing it and we just don't know.
True.
So if you are already doing, you know, community content like this, or a local podcast or something like that, put that in the comments. I'd love to check it out. And I know other people would as well, like to see examples and ideas of how they could replicate in their own community.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should show up at some of our members together, and help them provide some content.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to do it. Let's get out on the road.
Yes, roadshow. Jean and Emily roadshow.
Yep, I love it.
Awesome. Well, I'm not sure I have anything more. How about you? Any lasting words?
No, I'm just excited for all the unique opportunities that we can have coming down the pike. So
for sure. Yes. Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.